Alexander Hamilton, a founding father. Alexander's parents, James Hamilton and Rachel Fawcett Buck, were from the West Indian island of Nevis, and due to his mother's past affair with her previous husband, her second marriage with Alex's father was considered void and null. Therefore, he was an illegitimate child. Nonetheless, Alexander was born January 11, 1757, but some people claim that he was born at an earlier date. Growing up, Alexander was constantly stuck in financial problems because his father remained in Scotland when his mother moved them to St. Croix when he was 10. Shortly after, she died, leaving Alexander to be very dependent of family and the community. But luckily, his friends and family encouraged him to take on a job as a mercantile clerk and to be educated by a local minister. With his education, he was sponsored to go to the American colonies because of his excellent description of the Royal Danish American Gazette, so they sent him to New York City, where he attended King's College to receive proper education and became exposed to the current issues for the prep of the Battle of Lexington and Concord. With the pending war, he became interested and spirited towards the Whigs, so he began studying artillery tactics and military maneuvers. In 1776, with his knowledge of tactics, he was deemed captain of the Provincial Company of Artillery in New York and was stationed waterfront at Fort George and performed a lot of entrailing in various battles, which he became distinguished, and aided in the Battle of Trenton, which was a victory. So his victory, George Washington requested him to be his aide of the Continental Army, which he did not refuse. And although excelling at his duties like missions to gather supplies from Pennsylvania, Washington didn't let him handle his own troops because of seniority. He later resigned to become the aide to the commander-in-chief, and they captured Yorktown, Virginia, which he then surrendered to General Cornwallis. Then he was appointed into Congress. He was appointed into Congress the first time in 1782 and then again in 1787, where he became one of the main supporters of the Constitution and strongly influenced America's financial system. His goals for the bank was to establish financial order, clarity, and precedence in and of the newly formed United States, establish credit both in country and overseas, and to resolve issues of flat currency issued by the Continental Congress prior and during the American Revolutionary War. His plan for the bank: in order to establish the initial funding, the sale of $10 million in stocks would take place, in which the government would purchase the first two, but alas, the government did not have $2 million to spare, so loans were taken out, which would be annually paid back in 10 installments. The bank was intended to ease trading tensions with Britain, allow foreigners overseas or residing in the U.S. to be stockholders but not to vote, and it was to be a private company. Connections to his bank plan. Additional funding was needed annually and to cover deficiencies in the fund that had been appropriated from existing commitments. To achieve this, Hamilton suggested to increase the duty on imported spirits plus raise the excise tax on domestically distilled whiskey and other liquors, which local opposition to the tax led to the Whiskey Rebellion of 1791. 1795, he leaves office, and the new Secretary of Treasury, Oliver Wellscott Jr., informed Congress that they needed more money because, and Hamilton opposed. Afterwards, the bank charter expired in 1811 and was followed by the Bank of North America and succeeded by the Second Bank of the United States. In 1800, John Adams was succeeded by James Wilkinson. Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr raised their dueling pistols on July 11, 1804, because Burr's presidential election was tampered by Hamilton. Alexander got shot and died on July 12, 1804.
Created using Powtoon.